The black gang stalker creates a situation where you have to pay attention to them the entire time. That's why they constantly bother you. Okay? And if you are primarily getting synthetic telepathy from white people, you don't have to pay attention to them all the time, because sometimes they like to do other things. There is a serious reason why that this is true. My speech is controlled sometimes when I talk, so I sound different than I did last year and the year before. It gets worse. Your ability to control your own speech gets worse with black gang stalkers, because they're more likely to be poor, unemployed, which means that they have more time to stalk you. They're not doing anything else. I know that we are in a situation about speech in the country and what is hatred. We need to calm down about telling people what they can and cannot say. This is just ridiculous. I have homeless perps impersonating me. Okay? They're homeless. Now, this is what the black gang stalkers are doing. One just told me to try to memorize. They tell you what to do all day. They basically stalk you, and they stalk the gang stalkers to get housing. Okay, a place to sleep. Now, the counter argument about white gang stalkers, of course, white people on average get more stuff because they're much more clever. Okay, and this is the truth. If you have a hard time with the truth, don't listen. Black gang stalkers are more likely to basically impersonate you to the point where they will almost want to get rid of you so they can be with you, but they need you to exist because they're trying to be you. They're looking through your eyes and watching everything in your home. They're poor. They have nothing else to do. They're not that intelligent as the white gang stalkers. So when the white gang stalker stalks you, he's more likely to get on the plane to do it. This may or may not be true. I could be wrong. If you are a victim of synthetic telepathy, okay, I have more blacks torturing me. They're staring through my eyes en masse. It's 30, 20 people at a time, sometimes more. They are talking to me 24 hours a day. They're trying to pick the next sentence. They're trying to think like me. As black men are not a threat to society if they're trying to pretend to be me. When I consider competition on the planet, I think of white men. I don't think of black men. We're not in a competition with black men. That's why we always have to have activism to protect them from the white man. The one thing, the difference between the white man and the black man is that every summer we have to figure out how to protect the black man for a summer. We're not talking about this issue in terms of like a very clever argument where they're going to try to counter, which has basically been my tactic as someone who wanted to be an activist. You have to counter your own argument, because the enemy will come up with an excuse, a justification to do something that is not right. So when you think, you come up with a counter argument. My perps have now learned to do this not with their own life, but with me, pretending to be me and countering me with my counters. And then as a group of black men who are ineffective, helpless, and need help from the white race in a riot, because you can't even riot by yourself. En masse, the cops are not killing white men, which means they're more clever than you are. That when you sat at home for 4 years now and stared through my eyes as black men in your 50s, your 40s, your 50s, and your 60s, trying to be me and my white man, because my man is white. I'm not ashamed of him, and he is not ashamed of me. And if there are interracial couples in this country, okay, who cares? If you don't like it, don't look at us. Now, I'm living with a white man. Why do I have 20 black men staring through my eyes when I have sex with him? If I'm living with a white man, and I'm in love with a white man, and I'm a black woman, why are you watching me fold his underwear after I do laundry? You actually watch me fold a white man's underwear and then wonder why people don't like you. This elderly Noir, it's the French word for black. I'm going to use it as a code for liberals who are afraid to talk about race. Because I can counter your tactics all summer about racism because I'm tortured to death by black people. No one's protesting that. Now when black people torture black women, you said nothing. You all gave speech and language on YouTube or wrote a book about black men battering and torturing black women across the planet. And then you want to protect them. So I took some notes this morning. I now am being told not to tell you that I smoke pot now. This is what a torture victim sounds like when they smoke pot, but they're tortured by black men. You can't even enjoy it because they want to be high with you. The white gang stalker at R&M, if he watches you get stoned, he's not going to try to go inside your brain and tell the hive of people, we're all high like her. They are so broke and so dumb, they want to steal your high. Instead of get a job and buy their own marijuana. They constantly beg from each other to get drugs and alcohol. None of them has a job. Who's supporting them? The drug dealer. He takes a percentage of the money that he makes from crack addicts in Dayton and then has apartments, and he puts gang stalking pedophiles and rapists, people with AIDS and gonorrhea that molest children, and put a bunch of crackheads in an apartment, and they look out my eyes, okay, on crack, together, and in an apartment that's filthy. And when I try to go, I went outside to garden. Every time I want to go outside to garden, they want to stop me from gardening. That's a black gang stalker. No white person cares that you are gardening. If you have a white person in synthetic telepathy trying to stop you from planting flowers, you know, you're in trouble. You're really in trouble. Now, I have a perk. Let me tell you about these gang stalkers that are black. Charles Avery, I believe that's his name. He is a pedophile. A black pedophile. Okay? The drug dealer, Marcus, and the collection of drug dealers, Daryl Washington, Marcus, Charles sells crack, Michael Warden sells crack cocaine to the homeless community. I guess the homeless need crack. Why don't you go to a shelter and take a shower? He gets an apartment and lets a pedophile move in who's looking through my eyes. And what do? The two crackheads in their 50s, they shit on the floor. Now, I just heard he did that because the toilet wasn't working. There was no water. That the drug dealer didn't pay for the water. He just rented the apartment but didn't turn on the water. Was there electricity? And you looking through my eyes, I got a fish tank with water and electricity. I have perverts looking through my eyes. Now, when they molest you and pedophile you and rape you remotely, you call it electronic torture. It's brain-to-brain rape. Okay? I get raped every night and every day. All kinds of ways that the black man has come up with ways to rape me. Okay? My life matters. Okay? And these black men are torturing me. Sitting, okay, they even want to tell me how to think, and they don't have any money. A homeless crackhead is trying to make decisions for me. Another homeless crackhead is trying to make decisions for me. I have crackheads trying to make decisions for me. Okay, so I want to end with this. Now, Michelle Miller, who makes child pornography for the Hive, she's a black female, a crackhead, a pervert, okay? Comes from a family where they're malnutrition. She was living on the streets, her mother abandoned her, and now she's a gang stalker. She's trash. She's total trash. And this crazy bitch is looking through my eyes. I can't stand this bitch. And the drug dealer gave her a place to live. And she sits there all day and looks through my eyes 24 hours a day and will not open her eyes and says, I don't want to open my eyes because I'm poor. I'd rather look through her eyes. Her home is so clean. It looks so nice. That's the gang stalker. This sick bitch from Dayton, Ohio, after I am discussing the black men in the Hive that are torturing me, that they're rapists and pedophiles, stalkers, impersonators, narcissistic psychopaths who've learned my vocabulary, that they're too lazy to go Google. They basically don't have enough money to Google. They don't even have enough money to go to the library to Google. They don't Google. They ask me questions all day. What's this? What's that? What's this? What's that? Rape me, torture me, try to kill me. Like yesterday, they tried to get me to cut my fingers off with a tile saw. I'm a black woman that knows how to use tiles. Okay? That means I'm working. That means I have done work. They do not work. Okay? And there are a lot of black women in this country that are alone having to work because the black men don't want to get a job. So Miller says at 1:32 p.m. today, okay, September 8th, 2020. No, actually, that's not the date. What the date is, because I don't want to make a mistake. It's the 9th. It's Wednesday, 2:33 p.m. in Ohio, Kettering, Ohio, to be specific. Okay, Miller says, Marilyn, think about how many times they look at kitty porn. The Hive. Because Gary Albright, who's like 60 now, who's stalking me, molests children, and he actually raped children and got away with it, and that he rapes our minds like we are children, that the blacks are using remote neural monitoring to get us to go back in our childhoods and expose our sex with our teenage loved ones. So when you were a teenager and you fell in love with someone, or you didn't, or whatever, and you had intimate sexual moments, that the gang stalkers want to look at that because they're looking at kitty porn. They're using adult minds in this country, in the United States of America, okay? A government that is a failure. You are a failure. The United States government is a 100% a fucking failure. Kiss my fucking ass, USA. Fuck you. I'm hearing the thoughts of crackheads who rape children. Take your flag and shove it up your ass.